We'll be live.
Hello.
Hi, Susie. We missed you here on the channel. You come here only once a week.
Oh, I was like, what do you mean? I was here last week when I always am.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So make sure you like this for everybody. I see the live chat is already full. Thank you guys for being here. This is amazing. Usually we have to wait a little bit for the live chat to get full, but these days now, when we show up, the live chat is already full, which is great. But
Yes, if
make
you
sure
are here bright and early, make sure to hit that like button, guys,
like.
because Armin, I think we might be on a speed run to getting demonetized today. Not because we're going to say anything problematic, but it's a sensitive subject as the title of our first news today.
Right.
So
Yes, I'm going to keep
please
monitoring.
If you are new here, welcome to the Atheist Republic news show, where me and Armin talk about religion and secular related news from around the world, because we are building a global atheist secular movement. And we love to connect people that care about these issues from all around the world. Oh, hi. And one of our other channel co-hosts, Anna, is here live. I also saw Roy in the live chat, who's also been a guest co-host on the stream. So yeah, welcome everyone.
Yes. Susie, can you bring your when I highlight the people's comments, it covers your face. So maybe come up, maybe lower the camera so it's not.
Does it cover my face or is it just my weak chin?
Hey, Mars is here. Guys, keep telling us where you're. Yeah, oh, that's so much better. Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, Zay, don't say that. Not with that attitude. I'm gonna keep checking if we are gonna get demonetized.
Habibi, why? Believe in us. Have a little faith.
Right? Look at this. People are telling us where they're watching from Texas, from Norway, from all around the world. Keep telling us, guys, where you're watching from so people could see how global our community. It's not just our news that is very global. It's also our community that is from all over the world. Look at this. It's amazing. Okay, cool. By the way, guys, this actually happened. I just want to say this right before the show. Okay, this is feeding into a lot of anti-Semitic stories and stuff. Okay, we're gonna try to smack all of that. This is an actual event that happened. Okay, so even though it's I didn't think, Susie, when this first came out, I'm like, oh my god, anti-Semitic people coming up with another bizarre, stupid story. This is like a Jew lasers in space kind of story, isn't it? And then we're like, no, this actually happened. Again, anti-Semitic people are now building a lot of nonsense stories on top of it. So we're here to have fun with this story, but also to make sure that we call out a whole bunch of anti-Jewish and anti-Semitic.
Yeah, exactly. This could just be a fun story about some wacky boys digging a giant hole. But instead, some people have to be full-blown bigots and go back to the OG Simon and Trent blood libel. But so we, anti-Semites just love to ruin a good time. Okay, but we're here to actually talk about what happened and we're not going to tolerate that BS, and we're just going to talk about these wacky boys digging a hole. Because I was thinking about this, I was like, let's be honest, if part of what makes this story so funny is it's a small
wait let's do the first news and then get into it, huh? Because people have no idea what we're talking about, right? So okay. Yeah. All right, so clappable, right?
I
saw some. Okay, first news.
What in the world is going on with the Jewish tunnel? Okay, in the United States, the discovery of an illegal underground tunnel beneath a Chabad Lubavitch synagogue in New York City has sparked controversy, reviving old anti-Semitic tropes and causing a clash between city authorities and worshippers. The tunnel, 60 feet long and 8 feet wide, was found during an inspection at the Chabad Lubavitch global headquarters in Brooklyn's Crown Heights. It compromised the stability of nearby buildings, leading to a partial evacuation and citations against the building owners. However, this tunnel, far from being a nefarious plot, was actually an initiative by young Chabad students to expand the center in honor of Rabbi Schneerson, which I will explain more about that later. This act, which led to the arrest of 9 students in violent protests, was condemned by Chabad leaders, and with Queen's Rabbi Shaul Wertheimer saying, quote, "I'm not excusing their actions, but someone who's willing to destroy, vandalize, and deface a synagogue, their own synagogue at that, I would have to imagine they need a little bit of help, and I hope they're able to get that help." Okay. There is so much to unpack here, and I have a couple things to say before we start digging into this. First of all,
Digging, was that on purpose? Dig no, okay.
no,
It's
that
not?
wasn't.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. First of all, this is just hilarious because the idea, I think this would be funny no matter what group this is, because I was thinking like the idea of kind of a niche, fairly. Wait, no, I don't bring those up yet. I need to explain that later.
No? Okay.
The idea of a niche, fairly misunderstood religious movement, like digging holes and having like a secret tunnel is, I think, super hilarious. I was trying to imagine like if we discovered that the Amish were digging tunnels for whatever reason. I think that would also be freaking hilarious. And the other thing I wanted to say before I dig into the details, because I've been doing research on this, is that honestly, what I learned about the background of what happened here is so much more interesting than all the conspiracy theories. What I learned about what went down is so much more fascinating than like, they're trafficking children. Oh my god, they're running drugs underneath there. Oh my, like,
The children,
or even worse.
what
I
are
don't want to repeat a lot of the beliefs because they're so bad, but
okay, it's so bad. By the way, the conspiracy theories people are coming up. I mean, is Jewish tunnels, it's like Jewish digging holes under the city. Of course, the anti-Semites are just coming out of everywhere and coming up with the most bizarre explanations for what's happening here. And we don't even know. Yeah, I wanted to say some of the funny ones, but I don't know. We might get in trouble for repeating them. But as Susanna mentioned, the actual story is so much more interesting than the crazy stories that these people.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so
go on.
let me explain what I understand. And if there are people in the live chat that are knowledgeable about this and I'm getting the details a little wrong, please feel free to correct me. Because learning about this movement was new to me, right? Okay. So let's start from the beginning. There is a movement in Judaism about 250 to 300 years old, so pretty new for Judaism standards, called the Chabad Lubavitch movement. And it's originally from like Eastern Europe, Poland, Ukraine. And there is in this movement is a Hasidic movement, one of the Hasidic movements, and within the Hasidic movement is within the Orthodox movement. Okay, so we have like Orthodox, Hasidic, Chabad Lubavitch. What's interesting about Chabad Lubavitch is that they are one of the most well-known Hasidic movements, one of the largest Jewish organizations in the world, and unlike other Hasidic communities that can tend to be very self-segregated, the Chabad movement actually intentionally goes to go live amongst secularized communities, secularized Jewish communities, because their intention and mission is to essentially promote Orthodox practice among secularized Jews. They want to make secularized Jews, encourage them to do more religious practice, to obey the commandments of the Torah, to live a more religious life, to follow more of the religious laws, that kind of thing. So they have Chabad houses all over the world, and this is what they're famous for. And partly why they're more well known than other movements is because they basically kind of set up little emissaries or kind of like consulates all around the world, even in places with a very tiny Jewish presence, so that they can always have someone there to like encourage people to follow more religious law and tradition. So that's my understanding so far. No, Armin, wait, don't pull that up.
No, I'm just playing it in the background just so people have some imagery to look at while they're talking.
I'm sorry, it's really distracting.
Okay.
So
I'll bring it back.
So now let's unpack what's happening here. So the world headquarters for this movement is in Brooklyn, Crown Heights. And the building is known as 770. Okay. So we're just going to call it 770 for short. So let's back up a little bit. 30 years ago, they had a rabbi that they just called Rabbi Schneerson, who died. And Rabbi Schneerson was such a famous rabbi that his presence, his reputation actually extended far outside the community. And he was so famous and loved by the group that since he died, he never named a successor. And for the past 30 years, no successor has ever been declared. And so they have no formal singular rabbi as a leader of this movement. What happened also then in the 90s is that there started to be a legal battle over who owns this building, who has the property of this building. So when the rabbi died, there is a movement within the Chabad movement. So we have, again, Orthodox, Hasidic, Chabad, and now we're getting into within Chabad, several movements. There's a movement that believes that he is the Messiah, that Rabbi Schneerson is the Messiah and the savior of the Jewish people. And I have seen conflicting reports. Some reports say that it's actually common for all of Chabad to believe that he's the Messiah. Some people say that no, that's not true. Only some sections of Chabad believe that he's the Messiah. But then it gets deeper than that. Okay, so now we're going another level deeper. I hope everyone's following. Okay. We have the first layer. Okay, so on the newest layer is that there's people that believe that he's the Messiah. And then within the people that believe that he's the Messiah, there are people that believe that he's dead, but he's the Messiah. And there are people that believe that he is still alive. There are people that believe that he's the Messiah and he is still alive. So yes, exactly. You're bringing up a photo of like, these are some of and this little crown that you see in the corner of the sticker, that's one of their symbols. So what happened is, in my understanding, okay, again, this is my understanding, there could be some corrections. My understanding is that when there was this split within the Chabad movement after Rabbi Schneerson died, that they had to split off who gets to use what portions of the building. So my understanding is that the people that believe that he is the Messiah and still alive are the people that got ownership or temporary ownership of the basement of the building. And the other people have the upstairs. And I was watching videos this morning where you can find videos of these people that think that he is still alive, essentially treating this chair in which he used to sit the same way that you treat like the Western Wall, meaning you do not turn your back on it. You only walk backwards. You can find videos of them.
Wow.
You can find videos of them talking as if he's present and still there. They talk about him in the present sense. You can find videos of them like speaking to the room and acting like he's there standing with them. And so now, okay, this is all the background. And personally, I'm like, this is so much more interesting. This is so much more interesting to me than the conspiracy theories. So within so now that brings us to the present day. Okay. So about a month ago, these tunnels were discovered. But we didn't know about it. This didn't get mainstream exposure until when the police had a confrontation with some of these students in the basement because they wanted to close the tunnel. So actually, this tunnel has been known about for a while, just the world didn't know, so to speak. Okay, so this is where things get interesting. Why were they building a tunnel? What is going on here? So Rabbi Schneerson said before he died, he said that he wanted to expand the temple. And some people think that this is because so many people wanted to pray there because, you know, he was so holy and they were very attracted to him, and there wasn't enough space. So that was a dream for a really long time. But that was not able to happen because the building is under legal contention. And so if the building is under legal battle, you're not allowed to make changes to it, right? So that's one issue. And then there are other people, I mean, this is where things get interesting, that think that Rabbi Schneerson, because he was the Messiah, that means that he is supposed to rebuild the third temple in his lifetime. Because the Messiah is here to rebuild the third temple and bring peace to the world. And so they're like, he told us to expand the temple, and this is the third temple. Or people interpret 770 to be the third temple. So then that explains why when the police showed up to fill in the tunnel, because it caused damage and instability to nearby buildings, that the students started to fight them because they're like, this is our rabbi's wishes, or this is the Messiah's wishes, and we need to expand the synagogue or even rebuild the temple. So to me, that really explained like the passion and fervor behind it. And there are other reports that I read that said that some of the, or maybe most of the students that were arrested for doing this, or at least brawling with police, were some Chabadniks from Israel, and that they were more extreme than the other ones. And so from this one little town, they even had a name for them. And then so they attributed some of the fighting with police to like that specific group who had been living in Brooklyn doing studying or whatever for a year. But this was so much more interesting to me than the conspiracy theories. I'm like, I didn't know that they thought that he was a Messiah. Like this morning I was watching, because I wanted to learn more about this movement. So I went to go look for videos of other Jews explaining this movement. And I was watching videos this morning of an Orthodox Jew, so full Orthodox, but just not from this movement, talking about how he and other rabbis condemn it as a cult because the idea that you had decided that you can declare that you have found the Messiah is extremely controversial in Judaism.
Blasphemous.
Obviously.
Blasphemous.
Well, exactly. So Armin, for someone who like doesn't know, could you explain like why that's so contentious and blasphemous?
I mean, the entirety of the point of the Jewish religion is that we're waiting for the Messiah. I mean, the whole idea of whether Messiah has come back is what started Christianity. Like that's how how different the sect of Judaism was from the traditional one, that it ended up becoming its own religion called Christianity. So that's how much you're diverging away from what it's accepting. So when the second temple was destroyed by the Romans, there was two things that came out of that. There was one of them was rabbinic Judaism, which was focusing on the act of prayer and reading the text, the Holy Scripture, as an act of worship instead of the sacrifices that you were supposed to do at the temple, because there was no temple anymore. And the other direction was, the early Judaism sect that now we refer to as Christianity, which kind of decided, like, what, we don't need to do animal sacrifice because Jesus was sacrificed in return. So this is how big of a deal this is. This is this level of change is historic. Like, it complete. Technically, you could be considered a new religion. Like, is this even Judaism anymore? Given that whenever in history, 2000 years ago, when we had changes like this, we considered them the birth of new religions. That's how fundamental this change is, I would say.
And that's exactly what a bunch of the other Orthodox Jews that I was watching were saying. They're like, this group loved their rabbi so much that when he died, like, they couldn't cope with it, essentially.
Like, Jesus. That's the whole point of Jesus dying. Jesus dying, not dying, is because Jesus died and people couldn't cope with it. But like, oh, well, he didn't die. You say he died. No, he didn't die. He's just gonna come back. It's gonna come back. So that's just like denial. I think the whole point of Christianity was people not being able to accept that their leader just died, which is happening here again.
Yeah, and so a bunch of Orthodox Jews are like, no, this is completely against our religion. Like, this is blasphemy. Like, they even called what this group did to the synagogue like the most cardinal sin, which is like desecrating God's name. Secular Rarity saying, I mean, would it really be blasphemy if they got it right this time?
Right, good point. By the way, Susanna, let me know when I can show the Jews and holes images. Let me know, because I have my finger on that sharing thing. I'm just waiting for you to just give me the signal that it's time to show me the images. Okay.
So I want to provide some background to this, but let's get into it. Okay, so when I was making the thumbnail for the show, I was using Dolly through GPT-4, and when I was making the images, I just had this idea come to me, and it reminded me of this saying we have in America. I don't know if other countries have these sayings where, if we're talking about something that's impossible or futile, or say like, oh, you're digging a hole to China. Or like when I was a kid and I was playing in the backyard digging a giant hole, I'd be like, oh my God, you're pissed at your parents. Like, I don't want to live here anymore. I'm going to dig a hole to China and like run away, blah, blah, blah. And then that sparked an idea in my head. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is the first one.
Yeah.
But you were not content with China, were you?
No.
Let's go further.
Yeah, I was like, dig a hole to China. No, we can do one better.
This is Japan, I'm assuming, the next one, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is obviously Australia.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I guess we have Thailand here. This is beautiful. Yeah. I love this. Look how. And is this Chile? No, this is Mexico.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, we had the Chile. I don't have it here right now. I forgot to open.
Oh no, it was he dug a hole to Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu. Where is that Machu Picchu one? Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll get the Machu Picchu one.
I don't know, for some reason the idea of them digging so far that they ended up on the other side of the earth was just so funny to me. Like, I was
I love it. I love these
dying laughing. Because like I said last week, some people are saying, guys, there's no reason to make hateful conspiracies about what happened here, because the answer simply is, if you get enough, thank you, yes, here we go, Peru. If we get enough boys together, they will dig a giant hole. It really is that simple. There is no reason to have a conspiracy theory. It's very easily explained. Just take any group of boys to the beach. Basically doesn't matter how old they are. Take them to the beach. They will start trying to dig a giant hole. It's about as predictable as the sunset.
Well, I mean, it's either that or just throw a long stick somewhere. I mean, I think most, adult men, the only reason why they don't pick up a long stick and pretend that it's a sword is because they think that it's embarrassing, and they're not supposed to do so because they're adults now. But every time, I think every time, most men, every time they see a long stick somewhere, they're like, if these people were not around right now, I'll just pick this up and I will pretend like I'm a warrior, like that. And this is a sword.
Yeah, you see a good sword stick, you're like, it's such a good sword.
I mean, is it just me, or like I think that's true with most men? I don't know.
Yeah, no. Okay, we have a few things here. We have digging holes. Okay, we have sword sticks. Okay, and third, and very importantly, throwing different rocks in bodies of water to see how big of a splash it can make.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Competing to make a bigger splash by throwing giant boulders into a river is also very important to include. I love that people are like, oh yeah, no, I literally do that.
Sword stick, yes, the sword stick.
Wait, okay. We have a bunch of super chats that are really, I mean, comments in the live chat. So let's go through the comments. Yeah, I liked this one by Dean. Jewish tunnels in one sentence. Another cherry-picked misunderstanding that acts to help push a memetically driven narrative onto a subset of people primed to accept claims without confirming evidence. Exactly. Secular Rarity said, I mean, in their defense, have you seen New York real estate prices recently?
By the way, the most interesting part of that story was for me that how this is a small building, and they have turned each part of it into like a holy symbol with its own significance. Like, the upstairs is where we don't go, but now we could go down because they don't let us upstairs. Like, it's just like a hallway, like it's just a small area, and like there's like the upstairs has its own religious significance, and the bottom part is now had its own religious significance, and now because we can't go up, we're gonna go down. Like, I don't know, it's just like they just turned like something that is just a building into something very significant. I don't know, I found that interesting. Yeah.
And Uzair Jabril is saying, Susanna, did you assume this has to do with the third temple? I heard that they just wanted to get to the mikveh faster. So that's the religious bath, and the cleansing before prayer and stuff. So I also heard about the mikveh, but I have heard many people talking about the third temple as an explanation. The facts of the matter might be different, but I just wanted to throw that out there as a possible explanation.
Wait. So the other explanation sounds more crazy to me than the third temple explanation. You're saying the other explanation is like, we just want to get to the bath faster, so we just dug tunnels underneath the building because we couldn't wait enough. Like, I don't understand.
No, I think the idea is more that they want to go to the mikveh and then stay within the same area without going outside and then becoming like unclean before re-entering the synagogue. I could be wrong, but that was one of my understandings.
Okay.
There was also a few jokes that I saw online that were so funny. One of them, this was so funny. It was, imagine you're Armin, listen to this. Imagine you're out there doing anti-conspiracy education, and then a video emerges of a Hasidic guy crawling out of a secret network of Jewish tunnels under New York.
Like, oh no, this is not helping.
And then there's another one that I thought was so funny. Okay, so this is a parody of a character from Saturday Night Live called Stefan. People that used to watch Saturday Night Live will remember the character of Stefan, who's like a gay guy who's there to report on the hottest club scenes of New York. And I would like to do my Stefan impression. Okay, wait, I need to get like my sleeves ready because he always has his sleeves like this. Okay, and then he always like does his hair. Okay. New York's hottest club is 770, located in an illegal tunnel under Chabad Lubavitch headquarters in Crown Heights. This club has everything: cement trucks, Messianism, anti-Semitic conspiracies galore. The bouncer is the most Italian man in all of NYPD.
Oh, that's great. More of that, please. That was amazing.
Cement trucks, Messianism, anti-Semitic conspiracy. I like this comment by Suresh. Humanity yearn to diggy holes.
By the way, I'm actually quite surprised. Look at this. We're still monetized after talking about Jewish holes. I thought Jew holes would get us demonetized.
I know, me too. I'm impressed.
Yeah. I don't understand YouTube, honestly. Like, the things that we think will get us demonetized doesn't get us demonetized. And the things we're like, what did we say? Like, what did we say? This was completely fine. And then, like, we demonetized. Like, YouTube, I think YouTube is messing with our head right now by keeping us monetized. I thought, like, something that feeds anti-Jewish conspiracy theories would, like, get us demonetized like this. And it doesn't. I think they're just messing with us. So, like, I bet they will get confused if we don't demonetize them this time. Let's get them very confused. Okay, thank you.
No,
thank you.
Armin, they say that Allah is the greatest of deceivers, but really, we know that the greatest of deceivers is the YouTube algorithm. And ironically, it is the YouTube gods. The YouTube algorithm gods are the only gods that we recognize and pray to. So if you would like to submit a prayer, with me, brothers and sisters, to the YouTube algorithm, and you can do so by pressing that like button. If you were here and you have not hit that like button, please do so. And especially if you learned something today, because I learned a lot when studying this episode. Because Armin, how much more interesting is that than the nonsense? I'm like, you're telling me that there's like a small subsection of this religious movement believes that the rabbi is alive and they talk to him in the building as if he's still there? This is so much more interesting.
I met them, by the way, when I went to New York. I recorded a documentary with them that I never edited and released.
Were they just general Orthodox Jews, or were they Chabad Lubavitchers?
I mean, I saw that. I mean, at that time I didn't understood these people and who they are, but I saw that the image of that guy. I saw his image. Yes. I did release one documentary about him, which is on the Ideas on Bugs channel. Anyways, we should get to the super chats.
Okay, wait. Do you mind reading those for a second? Because I want to fix something in my room.
Yes. So before this, we got this before even the show started by Ramo Bees with the super sticker from Canada. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. And then we have another super chat from Rianch. I wish Susie was here. She's better with names. Susie, help me out.
I think it's
so
Ryan, like Ryan
Ryan.
SH. We're just going to call you Ryan.
Yes. Do you want to read this one? Because I don't.
Oh my God! Thank you for the $10,
topics are very
Ryan.
yeah.
He's saying, "Hi, Armin. Your topics are very important and interesting, but still, your subscribers are not increasing. Why? I think you should invite in atheists from all over the world every week in your live. Atheism in India is rising. Actually, our channel is growing a lot. It's growing more quickly than it ever has." Thanks to the support of guys like you, and also hitting that like and subscribe button because the AR militia is growing. The AR army is growing.
The reason why the channel is growing, unlike before, is because of these super chats. Because it wouldn't make sense for us to put other things aside and do live stream after live stream after live stream. And this is what YouTube likes. We've been doing live streams, almost every day now, and YouTube is rewarding us with growth, with subscribers. And given that we get demonetized often, it wouldn't make sense for us to constantly do live streams. But because we're getting super chats, now it makes sense for us to not do other things and do this. So these super chats are helping us grow the channel. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Secular Rarity. Yes, exactly. All right, let's go to the what?
Sorry. Calm my right. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we have this next story is very juicy.
What about super chats? The super chats.
There's more?
Two more
Sorry.
super chats. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, Roy. Thank you, Roy, for the 6 shekels. Saying just checking if the super chat works. It definitely works, my friend.
It does.
And I love the super chat by Bull. Thank you, Bull, saying the masculine urge to fortify.
That's what
must dig, must fortify tunnel.
Yes. Okay, so by the way, what other countries are recovering today? The UK, India, and two Indias.
Yes, this India story is. Both of them are very interesting because any Hindutva people that we attracted are going to be like, oh my God, yes, I love these guys. And then immediately in the next news be like, I hate you guys.
Anyways, can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wow. Okay. Next news.
The United Kingdom finally banned this Islamist group. Pakistan banned them a long time ago. But the UK is like, let me think about it. Despite the alphabet soup of terrorist groups in Pakistan, even they were like, nah, we don't want these guys. The UK is like, I don't know. Okay. The UK government, led by Home Secretary James Cleverly, has officially designated Hizb Tahrir as a terrorist organization, citing its anti-Semitism and support for Hamas, particularly for praising Hamas's surprise attack on Israel on October 7th. The decision follows incidents where group followers were heard chanting jihad at a pro-Gaza rally. The ban, effective January 19th, makes association with or support for Hizb Tahrir in a criminal offense under UK terrorism laws, aligning it with groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Offenses can lead to up to 14 years in prison. Cleverly emphasized, Hizb Tahrir is an anti-Semitic organization that promotes and encourages terrorism, including praising and celebrating the appalling October 7th attacks. The UK joins other nations in banning the group, which has been accused of glorifying and supporting terrorist groups. Labour's Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper supported the decision, stating, quote, "Those who incite violence and promote or glorify terrorism have no place on Britain's streets and must face the full force of the law." Meanwhile, Hizb Tahrir has refuted the allegations, condemning the ban as a desperate move by Britain, comparing it to authoritarian regimes. So, Armin, can you provide a bit of background on Hizb Tahrir to people who are not familiar with this notorious group?
I mean, it's just one of those other radical groups that supports, bringing they're actually supported bringing Islamic Caliphate back before ISIS was a thing, right? So that was their intentions of doing
Since
like a lot of
1953.
yes. I mean, they don't themselves. Imagine I was with these people, and that's why he also was arrested in Egypt. In Egypt, these people are hunted down and arrested and sometimes tortured.
Oh,
They're
no, that
they're
was funny.
considered
In their
very
statement, they're like, is the UK turning into Egypt? Like calling them authoritarian for this.
oh yeah. What do you think? Are they? Some people would say like, what happened to free speech? I mean, these people might be celebrating terrorist activities, but they themselves are not directly engaging in terrorist activities. They're just expressing their opinions, and you are supposed to be bastions of free speech. So what happened here? What happened? How do you respond to that?
Well, okay. What is not included in free speech is incitement to violence. And I think glorifying terrorism very easily falls into incitement to violence, especially when you're calling the Hamas terrorists heroes.
Mhm.
That's very easily encouraging terrorism and glorifying that. So, also, I think there's a strong
Yeah, go on.
argument for not allowing groups that are explicitly anti-democratic.
But what does it mean by banned? Like, it's the people within the organization, they're not arrested or anything. It's just is it just the institution that is not allowed to just function as an official institution anymore? Is that what they mean by ban?
Oh man, I got watered down the wrong pipe. Let me pull up the language specifically. Just a second.
Okay. Okay. Take your time.
Yeah. Where am I gonna find it?
Yeah, but KCA,
Okay,
First Amendment, this is the UK, not the United States. People are mentioning the First Amendment. This is the United Kingdom, not the United States. Go on.
Exactly. First of all, exactly. I mean, Hizb Tahrir is allowed in America, for the record. Prescribing this terrorist group will ensure that anyone who belongs to and invites support for them will face consequences. It will curb Hizb Tahrir's ability to operate as it currently does. The most serious offenses linked to banned organizations can result to up to 14 years in jail. Police can also seize any property associated with a group once it has been banned. For those of you who are not familiar with Hizb Tahrir, they are an Islamist group that mostly promotes they fully promote establishing a caliphate. They want to establish a caliphate. They believe that the nation state system is actually against Islam, and they believe in globalizing Islam. But my understanding is that they believe in this mostly through essentially subverting current democratic and governmental processes, less often through violent, explicit means. Although they do promote that. I mean, they are okay with it. They're not going to say anything against it, but their own method is more incremental creep than violent jihad explicitly. I mean, we have a friend, Armin, Deborah, who we interviewed on this channel, who was married to a Hizbi. And so she was in that movement for years and years and years, and they're Islamic fundamentalists. And she lived a very fundamentalist life. And what was so interesting, Armin, is when you were interviewing her, because she was a convert, I remember you saying repeatedly that she lived a more strict Islamic lifestyle than you ever did. Like, I think you even maybe said that she was more knowledgeable in that area than you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I still don't understand what the ban means. So you cannot go ahead and say. So my understanding of the ban was that the organization is dismantled, and it cannot be an official institution that is working. But you're saying no, it goes above that. You cannot come out and publicly say, oh, like Hezbollah Tahrir, you support it, you want to advertise it, you will get punished simply for saying that. In the UK, if you just come and say, I support this organization, you will get punished for that by just saying that.
Belonging to, inviting support for, or displaying material that shows public support for the group.
Wow. Okay. You can't do that in the United States, guys. Like this level of, whatever judgment you have on whether this is a good thing to do in the UK or not, but if that's what you can, Susanna, you're an American. You correct me if I'm wrong. You can't stop people from saying stuff like that in the United States. Like there is no laws. It would be against the Constitution for you to come and say, like, oh yeah, you can't support that. United States, like, no. Anybody can say whatever they want, right? Legally, at least. Yeah. Okay.
That doesn't mean you won't end up on a watch list.
Yeah.
You will end up on a watch list.
Or lose your job. But it's legal. But you can't legally be challenged.
Not to my knowledge.
There's no punishment for that. But also, Anna is pointing out in live chat, right? So basically, you can support their ideas, but not their name. Right, so you cannot say I support Hezbollah Tahrir, but you could literally say everything that they believe in, and you can say I support that. In the UK,
I guess that's a way around it.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if UK laws work, guys. I don't know. I would like to stop Hezbollah Tahrir as much as most anti-radical, anti-Islam people. I don't think this is the way. Does it? What do you think? Do you think it works? Do you think like, oh, we ban you from supporting this group? Do you think that actually helps stop ideas like this spreading? Because I might think it will do the opposite. I think it might help spread it even more. I do know that
Hizb is going to challenge this with every legal method available to them. I know that for sure. Does it actually stop it? In a way, it just pushes it underground. Yes. But I think because of how Islamism is just on full display and seemingly widely supported and accepted in broad sectors of UK society, that, I don't know, the Home Office felt like they had to do something, I guess. But at the same time, like, deposing Suella Braverman was like not a good move if that's your objective.
I would be completely for like dismantling the institution, stopping them from raising funds because it's a terrorist sympathizing. That I don't think it's against your free speech if a government comes and says like, yeah, we're shutting down this institution. You could go around as individuals and keep saying these nonsense, but you as an institution is shutting down. We're like taking your assets. You cannot raise funds. You cannot be a legal entity. I think that is not against your free speech, because that is just like, as an institution, saying you're not allowed to have these positions as an official institution. I think as long as the individuals can say whatever the hell they want, I don't think that's a violation of your free speech. And again, it will stop them from be able to raise funds and get money from outside of UK to bring and support radicalism in the UK. I would be all for that. Yeah. But go on, Susie.
Wait, I want to look up something.
Guys, do you agree with me? I don't know. I'm very skeptical about my own position. I just don't know if this works. Look at the level of, that is not a very good correlation. Does not mean causation often, not always, but in the UK, we have more radical Islamists than in the United States.
But let's be clear. We have free speech. In America, here they're saying, okay,
they say, Clear uses biometrics to replace your ID for faster entry.
What is that? Oh my God.
Okay, Google, stop. Sorry.
Okay, Google, stop. Yeah, you go on.
So the UK is designating them basically a terrorist organization. In America, if you are a member of a designated foreign terrorist organization, that's also illegal.
Yeah. The institution being in, I support that. Like in the United States, you can shut down a terrorist institution, but then you can't go to the individual members of the institution and say, in the United States at least, you can't tell them to stop supporting this institution. Stop saying that you support this institution. So, for example, in the United States, if an organization is supporting terrorism, the government can step in and like, yeah, we're shutting you guys down. But then the members of that institution, if they come out and say like, wow, you shouldn't have done that, that I support that institution being a thing, you can't punish that individual anymore. I mean, in the US you can't, but in UK you can. Anyways, we're getting into so much detail.
Well, I know
Oh, and
obviously
I-
in the US, it's the material support that is the big issue.
Yeah. And I'm saying, I would also check the mosques to where the individual members are going to pray. They can just continue working underground through other Islamic establishments. Yeah, I mean, this is, we have to see at what point are we supporting a police state in hopes of stopping terrorism? Again, I think
You
this,
were okay with that level of surveillance in America.
yeah, I didn't say I am against it. I'm just saying that we have to be mindful about it. Again, I don't know. I'm not claiming that I know the answer. I think it's a good thing to be worried about it. I think I support intelligence agencies following up, being, monitoring people and following them and making sure that they don't do any terrorist activities. But I think this does not contradict also being mindful about how much. I think they both of this pressure needs to exist at the same time. I think the pressure on the government to follow people and collect information and intelligence to make sure they avoid terrorist activities, and the pressure on the government for it not to turn into a police state, both of them existing at the same time gets us to reasonable balances. You know what I mean? I think just because we support one side doesn't mean that the pressure on the other side should not exist. Does that make sense? And again, what the balance is, I don't know. I think it's a hard question. I think a lot of people act like they know what the balance is, and they don't know. Okay.
By the
Yeah.
way, I was looking up more details, and in the US, if you are spreading propaganda for designated terrorist organizations, that can be a criminal offense for which you can be charged.
Oh, wait, say it again. What?
Mm-hmm. The spreading of
Can you say that
propaganda
again?
for designated foreign terrorist organizations can be a criminal. You can be charged with that criminally.
In the US?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Wow. I didn't know that. I learned something today. Thank you, Susie.
The U.S. Constitution's First Amendment protects freedom of speech, and this protection extends to many forms of expression, however, including controversial or unpopular speech. However, the U.S. Supreme Court has held that certain kinds of speech, such as speech that incites lawless imminent action, are not protected. The line between protected speech and unlawful material support in the form of propaganda can be very nuanced and subject to legal debate.
Okay. What did we say, Susie? What did we say? I mean, the Jew tunnels didn't get us demonetized, but Hezbollah Tahrir did.
It makes sense.
Hezbollah Tahrir. It makes sense, yes. Okay. So, guys, we've been demonetized. Help us with super chats, please, or memberships. Thank you. Okay. So, I'm going to submit an appeal. So, Hezbollah Tahrir got us there. I'm going to submit an appeal. Again, the way this works is that it's going to take a couple of days for YouTube to review our video and decide whether we have said would be naughty boys and girls or not. And then if we get our monetization back, by that time, it doesn't really matter that much because most of our audience, most of the people who watch the streams, watch it within the first 24 to 48 hours, right? So, but again, I will submit an appeal anyways, but this is how this works. Anyways,
this goes to prove. I love
yeah.
this comment. Wait,
Oh,
stop.
yeah.
Thou shall not offend terror organizations. Exactly. The real conspiracy is not the Hasidic Jews. It is Islamists.
Okay, to be fair, I don't think YouTube demonetized us because we were offending terror organizations. I think it's because we mentioned them and YouTube might think that maybe we're promoting them. I would guess that's the reason why we got.
No, the reason is that the YouTube algorithm is the greatest of deceivers.
Yes. They work in They do work in mysterious ways, don't they? Like people were pointing out in the chat, like we have to always guess, like what is thy will? right? So we don't know. We can't know the mind of God. We got a super chat.
Asian American gave us a super chat. Thank you. Saying Nelson Mandela was a registered terrorist until 2008. Well, designated by who? The context of that is important.
Yeah, but until 2008, maybe because I don't know what the details behind that is, but maybe nobody went and removed it because there was no point, because he's, nobody took that seriously. Sometimes things are on
there is a
paper.
point because sanctions can be levied against you.
Yeah, but maybe they're not affecting anything, so that's why nobody bothered. Maybe. I don't know. I have to look into the details.
I highly doubt that. I would think that it has more to do with it is a lot easier to levy sanctions than remove them.
Okay, but I'm not.
And I do think that's a
sanctions,
huge issue in American foreign policy. I'm not against having sanctions. Let me be clear. And obviously, I'm not just across the board. The context matters. But it is a huge problem that.
Yeah, but we're not talking about sanctions. Okay.
If you're a designated terrorist, you get sanctioned.
Yeah, but those are two different steps of two different things. I don't think Nelson Mandela was sanctioned. I think he was just on a piece of paper, and nobody bothered to remove. My guess was like that there was no sanctions or anything against him. There was on a piece of paper that at some point he was registered as a terrorist, and nobody bothered to ever remove it because it wasn't affecting anything. That's my guess. Anyways, I'm glad it was removed. Okay.
Norse Mythology sent us a super sticker. Can you see what the super sticker is?
Oh, yeah. I can do that. Norse Mythology. It is. It's a pair giving you a thumbs up. As pairs often do.
Atheist Damon gave us $4 super chat saying demonetized. Why, YouTube? Why? Too spicy. And Kenny gave us a $10 super chat with no comment. Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Very generous.
See, guys, every time we get demonetized, you guys cover us up, so we don't have to bother about like just dancing around YouTube's algorithm, right? We could just be whatever. We could say whatever we want. Yeah. Thank you guys for that. All right. So we have India. Is this juicy?
This is juicy. Well, I mean, it's people being really stupid.
Okay. And is it clappable? Oh no, right? It's not clappable. Is it a bad story?
I mean, there was an assault. People were harmed for sure.
Okay, we're not gonna clap. All right, so next news.
Muslim vigilante moral policing goes wrong in India. In the South Indian state of Karnataka, a case of mistaken identity led to a brutal attack where 7 men and 2 minors from the Muslim community assaulted 2 cousins, mistaking them for an interfaith couple. The incident occurred at a park where the girl, a Muslim wearing a hijab, and her Hindu cousin sporting a tilak, which is, the religious forehead mark, were waiting together. The attackers, misled by the pair's religious symbols, refused to believe the girl's pleas that the boy was just her cousin. The boy, injured in the assault, managed to call the police after 3 hours. Imagine being assaulted for 3 hours straight. The attackers, identified and arrested, faced charges including attempted murder and assault. The girl recounting the ordeal said, "They snatched our mobile phones. They took him to another room and assaulted him. They also hit me, asking why I was roaming around with a Hindu boy being a Muslim girl." So let me provide a little background on this story here. Okay, so I kind of found this interesting because when we cover incidents like this that happen in India, usually it is Hindu vigilantes who are going around assaulting couples simply for being together, like literally just a couple being together on Valentine's Day. My friend has told me that she doesn't even go out with friends on Valentine's Day because sometimes these Hindu mobs will come and force you to like marry the men that you're with because they don't want there to be like couples around on Valentine's Day because they see it as a Western thing. Like barraging dolls, like hatred of Valentine's Day and their mob activity on that day is on a different level of crazy. So this is like something I usually associate with Bajrang Dal, which is like a Hindu nationalist militant street gang. And they will, go assault people that they think are interfaith couples, usually with their hatred being most towards Hindu girls that are with Muslim boys because they think that it's a part of love jihad conspiracy theory. But what happened in this situation is in Karnataka, it was a Muslim mob that was doing the moral policing this time. Let me be clear, I hate some good old-fashioned vigilante community religious law enforcement. Just total strangers going around and assaulting people that are not following religious dictates that they force upon them. Who died and made you Basiji? Come on, what the fuck? So what happened was there was a Hindu boy and a Muslim girl and their cousins, because this Muslim girl, her mother was a Hindu who married a Muslim man. So she was raised as Muslim. But her cousin, is still from a Hindu family. Because her mother, his aunt, came from a Hindu family. So they are they're interfaith cousins. But that didn't matter. Because let's be clear, it doesn't matter whether they're cousins or even if they were a couple. Even if they were a couple, they obviously should not be assaulted and nearly murdered over this. But because they made the mistake of being family from an interfaith family and seen together, they were assaulted for damn near 3 hours straight, which I cannot even comprehend. I mean, I can't even comprehend being like assaulted for that long. So yeah, this is a horrible story. And it goes to show why like this internal community policing is so toxic. I mean, not that we needed much convincing on that.
So this is a Muslim area. Wait, put this back here. This is a Muslim area within this neighborhood. This area is Muslim within India. Am I understanding it? And they have this
So they were
policing
in a
going on
park.
there.
They were in a park. Off the top of my head, I have no idea if the district of that specific park is predominantly Hindu or Muslim. I don't know. I do know that there are lots of areas of South India that are very heavily Muslim, like Kerala. Kerala is very heavily Muslim.
I mean, imagine getting beaten up for being with Hindus in India. Like, I mean, it's horrible on both sides. Like, we have Hindu mobs beating up Muslim boys for hanging out with Hindu girls, and it's also now we have Muslim mobs beating up Hindu boys for being around Muslim girls. But the second one just seems something you expect to hear in Pakistan. The fact that you're getting beaten up for being Hindu in a Hindu majority country, it just seems, again, I don't want to act like it's like worse because they're both horrible. It's just bizarre. It's just more is it strange to say it's more unexpected for you? Like, I'm getting beaten up right now for being Hindu in India by Muslims. Is that not more bizarre? I think it's more bizarre.
I mean, to a certain extent. However, I'm also familiar with how insular and segregated and like very internally controlling a lot of these communities can be.
Right.
So part of me is not that surprised.
And what do you think about the backlash? Is it going to be backlash? I mean, Muslims beating up a Hindu boy in a country where there are a lot of Hindus who hate Muslims a lot. Is that not going to be a sure way to get a major backlash from other from Hindus?
Of course it is.
I
But
mean,
do you think that the kind of men that would do this kind of thing to
oh, they don't care.
control a woman's
Yeah.
behavior? Because they're doing this because this is a hijabi with a Hindu boy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
they're also being charged with like attempt to outrage a woman's modesty. That's the area of the Indian Penal Code that it's in, which I don't know what that means, like outraging a woman's modesty. I'm assuming that means like some form of sexual assault. Yeah,
By the way,
to assault and punish a Muslim girl for being seen with the wrong kind of boy, especially an idolater, like that's not so. You know what the attitudes of a lot of these people are like. I know how far some people will go for that kind of behavior. They'll murder girls over less.
right.
So
By the way, is it just? I mean, you follow these stories more closely than me, but I get a sense that it doesn't really bother the Muslims or Hindus if it was the other way around, right? So if you're a Muslim, you are more likely to get offended by Hindu boy with Muslim girl, but you're probably not going to get offended with Muslim boy Hindu girl, right? And the other way around, if you're a Hindu, you are more likely to get offended by a Muslim boy, a Hindu girl, but you're probably not going to get offended by Hindu boy, Muslim girl, because of the sense of ownership that you have over women and them stealing our women kind of mentality. Like they don't get like, if it's a boy, if the boy is on your side, they're not stealing your boy, you're taking their girl, right? So that's a win. But if this a girl that is on your side, then it's not you taking their boy, is that they're taking your girl. It's a sense of ownership over women that gets. By the way, this is not unique to the Muslim and Hindu communities. There's a lot of far right Christians who feel the same thing. Like they're taking our women. These Muslims are coming, or like it used to be. It used to be black people that would offend far right like Christian groups are like, oh
oh
my
no, it
god,
still
black people are
does.
taking.
It still does.
Oh yes, it still does. Yes.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like this whole taking our woman mentality as if like the women are yours for them to take. That's what I'm sensing is happening. Am I correct? Like they wouldn't like am I wrong to guess that these same Muslims that were beating up this boy for being Hindu with a Muslim girl, they wouldn't have gotten so butthurt if it was a Muslim boy with a Hindu girl? They would like maybe also do the Islamic version of high fiving him as well, like good job, like taking their woman, like kind of thing, right? No, am I right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we see that all the time. Or either because boys are
Right.
held to a lesser standard than girls. Like there's so many instances across religious communities where boys can have tons of premarital sex and people aren't really like that upset about it. They'll be like, "Oh, that's not great." But if a girl loses her virginity for marriage, it's like the end of the world. Okay, so there's just kind of like that baseline behavior across many different cultures. Right. But then specifically within this dynamic, there is on both sides, and this is, with the far right extreme fringe of both sides, but like it's like this belief that you're converting their women in that's seen as essentially like a win. It can also be seen as driving like a sword of shame into the others because it's like you allowed your women to be taken. And then also from the Hindu nationalist side, they believe in something called Gwar Wapsi, which is returning to home. So meaning that Indian Muslims are returning to their Hindu roots. So they believe in Gwar Wapsi, like coming home to Hinduism, returning to your Hindu roots
Right.
that you belong to because you're part of the Indian subcontinent, that the Islam that you believe in is a colonizing force. So you're coming home to us. And so there's that belief. And then of course, on the opposite side, we have a general belief in, the superiority of Allah and converting, acknowledging his greatness, leaving behind idolatry, all of those things. But you know what's interesting? We talk about the love jihad conspiracy theory a lot on this channel, Armin. But did you know that there is a reverse conspiracy theory that Hindu
Mm,
boys are taking Muslim girls? And what's it called?
what?
Oh my god! It's called the I think it's called the Bhagwan love trap. Because when I was
Bhagwan.
going down the rabbit hole of understanding the love jihad conspiracy theory, which, guys, if you're not familiar, is basically kind of like the great replacement theory, but for Muslims in India. It's the Bhagwan love trap. I went down a rabbit hole of discovering this account, and it was a Muslim guy who was obsessed with the idea that Hindus are stealing Muslim women through trickery
Mm,
and deceit. Oh, I've never heard that
mm.
one before. And that they use, I don't know, maybe black magic or some shit. I don't know. to
Right,
love
right, right.
trap them into leaving Islam and to joining the Hindu community. I think I'm pretty sure it's called the Bhagwan love trap. It's the something love trap. So it is it's I mean, I love these rabbit holes personally. When I discovered this, I was like, oh my God. And the Instagram account exposing the Bhagwan love trap was like exactly what you would think it would be like horribly photoshopped, like fake news articles exposing things, like really grainy photos of some kind of behavioral infraction. Like, I don't know. Um,
You know, this is actually all a great cover for the actual community that is, quote unquote, taking your women. Okay, because we have you all fooled. Okay, the Muslims are blaming the Hindus are blaming the Muslims, the Christians are blaming the Muslim immigrants. You all think like you're losing, quote unquote, your women to other religious group, but it's actually, the statistics shows, okay, that it's the atheists. It's the atheists that are taking your woman. Okay, so this is just our sneaky way of just putting you all against each other, while we are the actual, community responsible for taking
divide
the
and
highest
conquer.
number. No, I mean, statistically, that's true. Like, if you look at people leaving Christianity, Islam, or Hinduism, most of them are just leaving religion. They're not going to other
Well, that's
religions.
mostly in
So,
the West.
right.
Um,
Kenny's like, don't tell them.
I know.
Yeah.
Wait, there was a hilarious comment by Gene. Gene is saying these people need to find another outlet, like writing fanfic or something. Here's the thing, though. I think that this is like their fanfic because I don't know if you have heard some of these Hindu nationalists talk about the love jihad conspiracy theory, but they think that Muslim men have like this sex drive and sexuality of a fucking god. Like, there was this one really famous Hindu nationalist woman who was talking about, you can look this up. She's like, we shouldn't be calling it love jihad. We need to make it clear that it's actually sex jihad. So like they just have it's kind of the stereotype that they'd have like this like sensuality around them. Like they have this mystique. They're so suave. They have these charms, like these Indian Muslim Casanovas, like, and they can just totally bewilder this woman and swipe them off their feet, and like they can't even like know what's happening to them because they're so overcome with like the sensuality and like the romance and like the tingly feelings that you feel and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, the way they talk about these Muslim men, it's like they have like this special sexual potency. I'm like, what is it that Sigma Abdul? And then I'm like, this is such a weird level of like, do you have a sexual inferiority complex? I mean, Armin, we joke about this on the show all the time that if this is true, these Muslim bros need like brothers and sisters. Let's start giving lessons. Like, let's start helping out our Hindu brothers over here. They need to up their game. Like, what do they need to figure out that these Muslim men can just come and like enrich you and like totally just bewilder you and to be like, yes, oh my God, I'll marry you and become a Muslim right away. Like, what is what kind of self-report is it to be like, oh my God, these men are just so sexually potent, like our girls can't help ourselves? Like, I feel like that's like low-key calling all of your own community men like kind of impotent. Like, what the fuck? Like, do they need to be giving like pickup artist classes or something? What is happening here?
That is my comedy. I somebody needs to make this into a short clip. I've been telling this to our audience, like, why is this not a comedy skit already? So my idea was in India, you would have it like a 5-minute clip of showing these like very, very angry Hindutva people like getting together. I'm like, oh my God, they're taking our women. Like, how are they doing this? We have to do something about it. And they're like, yes. And they get together and they seem very angry and they're marching and they're going to these Muslim houses and they seem like they're going to like beat a whole bunch of Muslim men. And it cuts to the next scene. And then you have like the Muslim men and you see the Muslims like watching them coming and they're nervous, like what are they going to do? And the next thing cuts, like you see all these Hindutva, they're taking notes and Abdul is taking like, so this is how you talk to them, this is how you like charm them. And then the Hindu guy is like, wait, so I don't ask for bobs and vagines on the first day? And Abdul is like, no bobs and vagines on the first day, you have to wait at least on the third date or so. That would be the best. Somebody made that comedy clip. It's fantastic. Anyways.
Oh my God, there's so many funny comments in the live chat. So Gene is saying this is their version of American race play, isn't it? Yes, because you can find entire subreddits dedicated to this. It's become like a taboo, like fetish kind of thing. It's very interesting because it's so like forbidden. You know what I mean? Like, oh, how juicy. And it's just so good to say they are implicitly pro-Muslim because, okay, and this is it. That's what's so funny because Macedonian, however you say this guy's name, they also say that the Muslim men have higher testosterone levels. So like that's part of why, because they like are literally more masculine. I'm like, why are you shitting on your own men so much? It's because they eat meat. And many Hindus don't eat meat.
Are these Hindu men into? Hold on, let me make my point. Susie, do you think these Hindu men are into Muslim men? Like they might be some. Like it just seems like they're just into. Like maybe they're jealous of their Hindu girls, given how many compliments they're giving them. Maybe they're secretly into Muslim men. Maybe
they should just get them off their feet by Abdul.
Yes, they're like, why are you just coming for Hindu girls? Why are you not coming for us? Yeah,
Raheem doesn't pay attention to me. Right, and Zayn is saying, do I lose this charm when I leave Islam or do I keep it? Well, many of these Hindu nationalists think once a Muslim, always a Muslim. So Zayd, I think the ball is still in your court, my friend.
Vlad, we didn't miss your super chats. We're doing the super chats. We are going to do the super chats after we read the relevant comments. Which actually I want to point out where where is that comment by Mariam? You unstarred the comment that I starred. I need to go all the way up now. Fine.
Okay, Mariam was saying that Iranians are turning to Jesus Christ. I unstarred it because I didn't know how that was relevant.
Well, I just wanted to say, like, no, they're not, Mariam. You keep like, I don't know why Christians keep pretending that that's happening, okay? Because we have you guys as beat, okay? I have numbers. You might have social media stories and shit like, oh, Iranians are turning to Christianity. No, Mariam, they're leaving all religions altogether. Okay, look at us. Look at your numbers in Iran. Christian 1.5. Okay, those are rookie numbers. Those are nothing. Look at us. Look at nuns and atheists combined. That's like 30% of Iran is now non-religious. Okay, look at your 1.5. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I don't know. I know Christians like to go and like highlight like where Christians are gathering and act like you have the big numbers. You are losing everywhere. Like, first atheism and Islam. Unfortunately, Islam are growing. Christianity is losing badly. Okay, look in Iran, you got nothing. You got nothing in Iran. Christianity is not growing in Iran. Don't believe that.
Miriam is saying that she didn't say that. Or you're taking her out of context.
No, yes, you did. You did. Like people. Okay. Anyways, atheism. This is why you should have kept the star. Okay. See, now she's saying it is. So she is saying that. All right. So let's do the super chats.
Okay. SFL gave us $7 Canadian. Thank you. Y'all is saying demonetized.
Demonetized.
A little play on words there.
Yes.
Are you implying that the YouTube algorithm is a demon? It's demonic.
Yeah, we didn't.
There are people that like do this wordplay to say that the Democratic Party is demonic. Okay, let's go to the super chats that are related to this story, and then we'll go back to Gasians, which is a little bit different. So Vlad gave us a super chat saying Hindus were and still are being persecuted by Muslims, except media keeps it hush hush. These actions, though, are inexcusable, don't come out of nowhere. Certainly, it also depends on the context, right? Like,
yes. Actually, let me make a point. A lot of times when we highlight Muslims being abused by Hindus, people think we deny that Hindus get abused by Muslims and vice versa. Okay. So they both exist. Okay. In around India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, there's a whole bunch of Muslims that are being abused by Hindus, and there's a whole bunch of Hindus that are being abused by Muslims. Okay. Again, not all Hindus and not all Muslims, but one of them does not deny the other one. They both exist, and it's horrible. They're both horrible. Okay.
Yep, we talk about the treatment of Hindus in Pakistan in particular a lot. Okay, so Darko also gifted 5 Atheist Republic memberships. Thank you, Darko. And actually, so did Kenny. Guys, that's so generous. If you just got one of the Atheist Republic memberships, make sure to drop your newly granted emojis in the live chat. Sayak Patra gave us 100 rupees. Thank you, saying there's a belief among Hindus in India that they were forcibly converted by Mughals, lost land, and that this all culminated in Hindutva's their movement. I mean, the Mughal invasion is nothing to shake a stick at. Let's be clear. And especially a lot of Hindu nationalist rhetoric is fixated on the Mughal invasion as a historical grievance, and that does fuel a lot of what they do because they're obsessed with this civilizational grievance, and they can't just kind of like live in the present day. It's kind of a mark of shame, or that they still like can't deal with. Indominus Rex is saying they call it the Shah Rukh Khan archetype. Hey, I'm not complaining. He's very handsome. Engaged American is saying the cuckold fetish is very common, apparently. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't know why. A lot of men love the idea of like being sexually humiliated by the woman that they love the most in the world being more pleased and like ravaged by another man in a way that they could never do.
Well, we don't question other people's kinks.
And Asian American, in regard to the previous segment, gave us a super chat. Thank you. Saying Reagan had put him on the, talking about Nelson Mandela, Reagan had put him on the terrorist watch list. Mandela was part of the ANC. The group protested racial apartheid by booming places. Well, we don't appreciate the booming of places.
Right. By the way,
And
Mariam is Mariam saying no. You just question their faith. Yes, we do. Actually, Mariam, we should turn that into don't question people's kinks. Question their faith. That's a good slogan to have. Yes.
I'm ready for the next story whenever you are.
Oh, is it clappable?
It is. It's Hindu nationalist nonsense, one of our favorite things.
Ooh. Okay. By the way, we're not against nationalism. Okay, we're against extreme forms of nationalism. Okay, so I mean, I used to be against nationalism, but now I changed my mind. Okay, long time.
Yeah, we're against jingoism.
Right. Yes, exactly. All right. So next news.
Next news: the Netflix movie that outraged Hindu nationalists over food. Netflix removal of the film Anna Purani, Goddess of Food, from its platform has sparked controversy in India. The film, set in Tamil Nadu, depicts a Brahmin woman aspiring to be a top chef, challenging traditional norms by cooking and eating meat. Brahmins are members of a high caste in Hinduism, traditionally associated with priesthood and adherence to strict vegetarianism. This portrayal, alongside a suggestion that Lord Ram eat meat during his legendary exile, and an inferred theme of love jihad, a unproven conspiracy theory that Muslims are converting Hindus to Islam through marriage, ignited protests from right-wing Hindu nationalists, particularly the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, or VHP, a hardline Hindu nationalist organization. Facing backlash, Z Entertainment, co-producers of the film, issued an apology and withdrew the film for re-editing. This incident reflects the growing influence of right-wing Hindu groups in India's cultural sphere since the BJP's rise to power in 2014. That is the ruling party in India, for those who don't know. Actress Parvati Thiruvothu criticized the film's removal, stating, quote, censoring left, right, and center until we won't be able to breathe, highlighting concerns over increasing censorship in the Indian film industry. VHP spokesman Vinod Banshal hailed the film's removal as a, quote, victory for all Hindus. So this was particularly interesting to me. We haven't seen giant Hindu backlash over media in a little while now. I mean, I don't know if it's just because it's not reaching the top of headlines anymore, but Armin, like for a couple of years there, it felt like almost every single week there was some advertisement, some Netflix movie, something that had to be pulled because of outrage and people going to mob the headquarters of different brands that had an ad that they found offensive, and then they had to pull these ads because basically their staff was physically threatened. And I think a similar situation happened here, where there was a huge crowd that went to local offices and caused a disturbance. So why, if someone is like, why would they find this offensive, a Brahmin woman cooking and eating meat? Do you know why they find that offensive? Because I think I know what the reasoning is.
Because they haven't read the Vedas, where there's cow sacrifice and eating of meat in their own religious scripture, and they don't understand their own religion. Okay, but I don't know. You go ahead. I mean, by the way, that's old Hinduism.
Yeah, my understanding is that part of the reason why the upper caste, and particularly Brahmins, are vegetarian is because, well, one, they are twice born, and Sarvanas are supposed to avoid things that are earthly and material because that's less spiritually clean, right? And so things that are involved in the cycle of life and death, particularly meat, are very, very earthly in material, and that's to be spiritually unclean and avoided. And also because by doing that, you are also engaging in like harming another living being. That's part of it as well. People can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding. And partly, so that is why in a lot of the lower caste varnas and jatis, you see like they have to dealing with human waste. They do more cooking. They do more material jobs. They do the cremation because that is very, very material. That is very, very connected and caught up in the cycle of life and death. But if you're more priestly and esoteric, you should be devoting your energies towards the knowledge, the intangible. So people can correct me if I am wrong, but that is my understanding. And so the idea of a Brahmin woman engaging in something that is so spiritually unclean is what people are finding very offensive, or perhaps even like an inaccurate representation of the faith. But this is a movie. I don't think it's really trying to be an accurate representation of the faith. And I think more than anything, what is very offensive is the implication in the movie that when Lord Rama was expelled and had to go into exile, that he ate meat. Because they're basically saying in the movie, whatever the context is, that how can you be in exile for years and survive without like eating meat? I think they were talking about it from like a very practical perspective. And so people are freaking outraged. The idea that Lord Ram, who's an avatar, would be engaged in something that is so unclean.
Unclean. I am trying to get a ChatGPT to make me Lord Rama eating meat, but I am unsuccessful because for some reason, every time I try to do that, it puts vegetables. I'm like, I clearly instructed you to make Lord Rama eat beef,
Oh my
but it
God.
either tells me, sorry, I can't do that because I think it understands that it's offensive, or every time instead of beef, it puts a whole bunch of vegetables in his plates. So I don't
It
know
knows.
why. It knows, yeah. Like illustration of Lord Rama eating meat, and it doesn't do that. It doesn't let me do that. Interesting.
I like that
ChatGPT is
image
so,
though.
yeah.
The style of that is quite nice.
It doesn't let me do that. Oh, so sorry. It says sorry, I can't fulfill that request. So this is woke ChatGPT not letting me make it. Can we do blasphemous art with Lord Rama and beef? Enjoying some beef? Can we do a blasphemous art on that?
I think I can come up with something.
yeah, let's do that. That's going to be our next blasphemous art. By the way, guys, we make blasphemous arts every week. You could get that for free. The link is in the description, so check that out. So yeah,
We got a super chat by Indominus Rex. Thank you. Saying in Hindu nationalist circles, Netflix has a pretty bad rep for being anti-Hindu, like Layla and Sacred Games, etc. I don't know exactly what this is referring to, but I know that they got in trouble a few years ago for oh man, what was that? There was a movie that got accused of promoting love jihad because it literally just showed a couple kissing inside of a temple or something. People will know what movie I'm talking about, and people lost their mind.
Yeah. So I mean, if you get butthurt so often, it makes complete sense why there's going to be so many examples of you getting butthurt if you're this sensitive.
Yeah, they're like
I mean, what
accused
do you
this
expect?
Netflix movie of intentionally hurting religious Hindu sentiments, blah blah blah. Like, which have to be some of the most sensitive sentiments I've ever seen, based on my experience.
Yeah. By the way, if you give in to their demand and try to be sensitive, I can guarantee you that they will just push the red line further. Like it's not going to be a situation where like, okay, let's try to not get these people offended. And they were like, oh, thank you. We're so grateful. We're going to stop getting angry over the slightest little thing from now on because you listen to us. They will just know there will be, okay, it works the other way around. Whether this is Hindutva, Muslim communities, whatever, they were like, oh, we got what we wanted by being overly sensitive. Let's be more sensitive because apparently this is how you show your dominance. So it encourages them being more sensitive. So it doesn't, any organization or institution that thinks that they're going to back off, if you listen to them, all you're doing is signaling to them that crying about things will get them what they want. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm excited for the next news. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we clap, Armin?
Oh, did we unhighlight this? Yes, we can. Wait, you're asking me? I'm supposed to be asking you. But yes, we can.
Okay.
Hmm.
Are you ready?
Next news.
Next news. Why leftists fall for terrorists over and over again. Okay, guys, this is very exciting. Armin has just published a new article on queer majority titled By Any Means Necessary, Iran, Hamas, and the Left. And he has been working on this article for a very long time. For a few months now, I've been reading and editing many, many different drafts, and it is finally published. We teased this for a while, and now it is live, and you guys can go read it. So make sure to go to Queer Majority. Link is in the description and also in the live chat, and go read this article, because if you're ever like confused, you're like, why do all these people that say that they're leftists keep allying and keep being complete like fangirls for these terrorists that are far-right fascists? What is going on here? This doesn't make any sense to me. These people are completely against their values and ideals, but they keep on falling for these freaking fascist terrorists. And Armin breaks it down in this article by looking at the history of Iran as an example, and also kind of as a warning for the future. So, Armin, do you want to give it like a teaser for this article? Since, you want people to go read the article, but I know you're very proud of this for many reasons.
Yeah, because I have not seen a better explanation than my explanation over what happened in Iran when it comes to the Islamic Revolution. I don't think I have, because I was researching this article and I wanted to make sure that I get the facts right. I was so amazed about how there's nowhere that goes through exactly how the leftists and the Islamists united with each other and brought down a country that was progressing so fast and so rapidly, right? And we Iranians know how the unity between the leftists and Islamists, how destructive and harmful it is. And I think given that now in Western countries, a lot of people are now only starting to, in the past decade or so, getting familiar with like, why are leftists, again, not all leftists, I'm talking about far leftists, Wokistani people, or some people who call themselves progressives. For some reason, they keep uniting with Islamists, and people don't understand why, because their values seem to be completely contradictory. Islam is far-right ideology, and these people who are progressives are supposed to be fighting for women's rights, for gay rights, for minority rights, for freedom of expression, for democracy, for peace, for secularism, which are all values and ideas that are contradictory to Islam. And then time and time again, we see all of a sudden they work with each other, and people don't know why. What is it that they find so appealing among each other, and why do they get so destructive once they become united? So I use what happened in Iran because their unity destroyed Iran. So we lost a country because of the unity between the leftists and the Islamists. And a lot of people don't even know that the Islamic Revolution in Iran was not an Islamic revolution, was an Islamic leftist revolution. It was a unity between two groups that managed to make that happen. And I explained that in detail, and I use it as a warning for in North American and Western European countries to use, try to learn from what happened in Iran so that this doesn't repeat itself. It is liberal values that are, both of them are against it, are against. It is the standards and the methodology that has made the world so much better in the past 100 to 200 years that they're both against. And they have, because they share the same enemy, which is the liberal values, the world liberal order, and they both mean to destroy that. That is why they put all their differences aside. And I show that, and I demonstrate that is exactly why they unite and how harmful they are when they unite. And I think this is the best warning right now. Is I think the reason why this article works so well right now is because people are now more aware about the Iranian people and the difference between the Iranian people and the Islamic Republic, and they are now more aware about the fact that Iran is going through a revival and what happened more than 40 years ago in Iran. And because of the Mahsa revolution, more people are aware of that, and also because more people are now aware because of after October 7th, a lot of people saw how many people in the streets of European countries and North American countries came out, and even Australia, they came out in support of Hamas. So because there's more awareness of both of these, I think bringing these together and showing what happened in Iran is exactly what's now happening in Western countries. It serves as a very good warning, the most timely warning that you could that you could have. So again, if you are concerned about what's happening, and if you want to use history and what happened in Iran to warn people in Western countries about not supporting Islamism, and also to be mindful of the woke Islamist alliance, like we had Marxist Islamist alliance back 40 years ago back in Iran, and now we're having woke Islamist alliance in Western countries. If you want to warn people, please share this article with them. I also want to mention that how this whole idea of leftists and Islamists coming together was coined as the unholy unity of red and black by Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, Muhammad Reza Shah, which was the last king of the Pahlavi dynasty before the Islamic Revolution of Iran. He called it the Irtijai Sorkhosiyah, which means the unholy unity, or the backward or the regressive unity between black and red representing the communists or the Marxists, and black representing the mullahs. So yeah, so just go read this article. I think it summarizes everything that happened very well, with actual quotes and historical events, and then also connects that to everything now that we're seeing happening in the streets of Western countries.
Yeah, I loved this article because you give a lot of specifics. You go back and actually quote people in their own words that explicitly explain why they're doing this alliance and how they're overlooking their differences for the sake of achieving a certain goal. And also, I think this is super valuable. And I think that this alliance is becoming more and more mainstreamed. Like every single week, I think it is more and more mainstreamed. I used to think it was, and maybe it used to be, more of kind of a tanky, more fringe, authoritarian, communist kind of alliance affinity. But more and more, I am now seeing it mainstreamed into mainstream progressivism, quote unquote, to the point that I have nearly entirely dismissed the movement. I mean, we see so-called progressives like Kyle Klawinski saying that the Houthis did the right thing. It is mainstreamed. It's mainstreamed. This used to be like a tanky thing. And so, yeah, more people need to understand exactly like what's at play here and the roots of it, and then also the cost of it and what the likely result of it will be. Because the likely result of it is that all of you useful progressive idiots get hanged in mass. If we want an example, we can look at what happened to MEK in the 80s. And I'm no MEK fan, let me be clear. But
Right.
no one deserves what happened to them. So I think this is very valuable, Armin, and I'm proud of you and good job. I know you worked really hard on this.
Thank you. Yes.
And
Okay.
one thing I thought was interesting, you posted this on the community tab in our channel, and I saw some very interesting pushback by some people that took offense at you calling Reza Pahlavi and Mohammad Reza Pahlavi Javed Shah. No, I'm kidding. Progressive. How do you defend yourself, sir?
I defend myself with stamp. Okay, so they got offended because I said during the Pahlavi dynasty, things were getting better and better in Iran. And like, oh, Armin is a monarchist. Armin lies when he says he's a Republican. By the way, for you Americans who think when I say I'm a Republican, you just think like the name of your party, get out of your American-centric mindset, okay? Republican does not just refer to the name of a party. Republican, when I say I'm a Republican, I mean I support a republic over a monarchy, okay? That's what a Republican means. Not everything is about America, okay? So people say I lie that I'm a Republican. I'm a monarchist because I am constantly saying that things were better during the Pahlavi dynasty. But here's the thing. I am a Republican. I am not for monarchy, but it is actual fact that during the Pahlavi dynasty, everything was getting better. Almost everything was getting better, right? The economy was getting better. Health was getting better. Women's education was getting better. People's rights
Literacy.
were getting better. Literacy was getting better.
Land rights.
Everything was getting better by such an unbelievable
Industrialization,
speed.
modernization.
Exactly. Yes. So that is
Economic
fact.
growth.
I'm sorry that you have a problem with stats, but that's literally the facts. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do with it, but that's what it is. Yes.
And that's not to say that everything was perfect, because it was not perfect.
Yes. Right. No. Things were not perfect, but they were getting better. People,
we're
again,
not saying that they are without sin. Some problematic shit went down.
This is what Iranian commies think that they got me when they point to problems during the Pahlavi dynasty, okay? Yes, I didn't say everything was freaking solved, you freaking morons, okay? I don't know how, what do you think I'm saying? I'm saying things were getting better. Everything was getting better. Not that everything was good. You have to look at the trend, not take a snapshot of the situation at a time and find problems. You could do that with everywhere at any time. Obviously, there were problems, but the trend was good. Right.
You also, I mean, I kind of just want to talk about it while we're here. You have the controversial opinion that really loves to piss off some people that Reza Pahlavi and Mohammad Reza Pahlavi were the greatest feminists in Iranian history, which would make some people set themselves on fire.
I didn't say in Iranian history, Susie. That's inaccurate. I said it in world history.
Oh.
Yes, okay. I think.
Would you care to explain yourself, sir?
I think that the reason why we have a woman life freedom revolution right now in Iran is thanks to Reza Pahlavi, who liberated the Iranian woman. Okay, if you look at the situation of Iranian women before the Pahlavi dynasty, I think even right now, Iranian women would be the same. Their position in society would be the same as Afghanistan. The way that people looked at women, the way people understood women, the way people look at the role of women in society, what it means to be a woman, we were so behind, during the Qajar dynasty. It was the Pahlavi dynasty that came and introduced the idea of women's liberation, women's rights. And if you look at Iran right now and you see like, wow, women in Iran,
it was really female emancipation.
Yes, if you look at the Iran situation right now and you look at women and you see like, wow, Iranian women, they're so free, they're so strong, they're so outspoken. That is all, or the majority of that is thanks to Reza Pahlavi, who made it his mission to liberate women in Iran. So I would say when it comes to the number of women being liberated, I think that Reza Pahlavi is the greatest feminists of all time in history, which actually which pisses off a lot of Iranian. Yeah, a lot of Iranian leftists get really pissed off when I say that. But it's like, come at me. Like, what do you tell me? Like, how is that right? Give me another person in history that managed to single-handedly be responsible for the liberation of this many millions of women. Give me another woman. Yeah.
And let's not also forget that
And
the communists
another
are
man.
largely responsible for literally blasting Afghanistan back several centuries.
What basically, I'm not feminist simping. I'm doing the opposite. Feminists get pissed when I say I'm saying the greatest feminist of all time was a man. Do you think many feminists like to hear that? Like, did I think feminists enjoy me saying that the greatest feminist of all time was a king? Yeah, no. Right, so.
No, I don't know if other people understand how much like other Iranian feminists would want Armin's head on a stake for that.
Yeah. Oh, he corrected me. Yeah, you're simping for your feminist king. Okay.
My feminist king.
All right. Yeah.
So guys, go read the article. Trust me, if you thought this was juicy, the article is 10 times more juicy.
Yeah, go check it out. If you don't have the link, just search for by any means necessary, Iran, Hamas, and the left. Iran, Hamas, and the left. Just go search for that. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. I had a lot of fun on the show
we have
today,
two super
Armin.
chats.
Oh, we have super chats?
Guys, before we read the super chats, everybody like the stream. Nobody is allowed to leave today's stream. I'm looking at you. If you are just about to leave, no, you don't get to do that. You have to like before you leave, okay? And if you want to support us even more, once the stream is over, leave a comment under the show. Make sure you leave a comment. These comments help us grow the channel. And also, if you want to, like, okay, Armin, I know what Susie, I know what somebody's thinking. Most of the people in the live chat, I think like, no, Armin, that is not enough. I don't want to just like the stream. I don't want to just leave a comment. I don't want to spend money like all these other people who are sending us super chats. But you have to give us more. You have to give us more ways for us to support the channel. I got you. You could go around and tell people to come and support and subscribe to Atheist Republic and hit the bell notification. So go around and spread the word and tell people to come and subscribe to this channel. We're doing good here. I know I piss you off sometimes, and sometimes I tell you things that you don't like, but overall, I know you love this channel and I know you want us to grow. So make sure you go tell people that to come here and subscribe to this channel. So do that. There, I did my thing. So let's do the super chats.
Sorgu was saying, unpopular opinion, many leftists only care about injustice that can be blamed on white people, men, or Christians. I'm not going to fight you. Nowadays, this is largely true.
You forgot cis and straight.
Yeah, but there's also movements within leftism that is still actually very homophobic and transphobic.
Yes. Yeah.
And Gasian American is saying, would you have supported Mossadegh?
Oh no. No. By the way, people like leftists like Kyle Kulinski try to act like the CIA supported a coup in Iran against the will of the people, which is not true. The CIA stopped the coup. Okay, the actual coup was not by the Shah. It was Mossadegh who was doing a coup. Okay, the coup was being stopped. It wasn't. There was, CIA didn't support the coup. It stopped the coup.
And he had a legal right to retain that seat.
Yeah, the Shah had completely the legal rights to remove Mossadegh from his position. They weren't letting him, and the CIA just came and helped him do what he was legally had the right to do.
Miriam is saying, exactly, Armin. That's the first thing you've gotten right today.
Well, thank you. First thing, okay, sure.
Oh my god. Trells gave a super chat. Thank you, Trells, saying, shout out to His Majesty King Frederick X of Denmark, who became king last Sunday, and for choosing a royal motto that omits God for the first time since 1863.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
very interesting.
I did not know that. That's very interesting.
Gazin has a contention with Reza Pahlavi being the greatest feminist of all time by saying, no, Mao liberated 400 million women.
From living? Oh, no. Why did they die? From starvation? Is that how he liberated them? Okay. No? Too soon? Sorry. Too soon. Too soon. I'm getting too soon vibes. Right. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Spicy. Okay.
Seed of Iblis gave a super chat saying, here is some Jahannam currency. I can't believe it's not shekel.
Oh, thank you. That was good. Wow.
Thank you,
Love
Iblis.
the super chat. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to head out. This was a fun show. Thank you so much to Susie and Dee and all the other people behind the scene that make the news happen that we cannot mention their name for their own safety and security. I mean, I know a lot of the community doesn't see you, but me and Susanna and Dee see you, and we celebrate you and we appreciate you. Thank you, all of you. Guys, there's a lot of work that goes behind, like making sure that we get things right behind the scenes. So thank you to Susanna, Dee, and the rest of the team. I appreciate you, all of you guys. And okay, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification because we're going to be live very, very soon. Very soon. Again, like we're going live almost every day. So make sure you subscribe. All right, guys. Bye.
Have some juicy
Mwah.
videos teed up.
Yes. All right, guys. Bye.